I pray nobody finds this video. Before I start, I want to get something out of the way. I'm a Nolan fan, and this movie is not bad, but I also kinda really didn't love it. Now, I haven't spoken to a lot of people in real life about how they feel about this movie, so I'm going to just start with what I loved, because I don't think this is going to be a very popular opinion. There are shots in this movie that genuinely had my jaw on the fucking floor. Good boy, Chris, you get a gold star for that. Genuinely, it's ridiculous. Like, there's a scene where Odysseus is running away from these, semi-giants called the Lastrygonians on a beach with his troops all the way, to their fucking boats, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And throughout the movie, I would find myself just in awe of what I was seeing. A lot. And I mean a lot of this movie was done practically, which is ridiculous. And as for the things that are CG, it still looks amazing, and I have no complaints for that either. I know they had an insane budget for this movie, so that should be expected as the bare minimum, but with some movies these days that are rushed out, it's worth noting, at least. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm also in particular talking about Ant-Man 3. Fuck Ant-Man 3. Who the fuck names their movie Quantumania? I'm not calling it that. It's been 3 years, and I still have fucking PTSD from MODOK. I'm not even joking. That's not a joke. I'm not kidding.
I became the ultimate weapon.
I know a lot of people are hating on Elliot Page for this movie for some reason, but I think he does a great job in the few scenes he's in as Sinon. Do I buy he's Robert Pattinson's brother? Not really for a second, but he's acting his ass off in the few scenes that he has, so I'll give him that. I'd say 90% of the cast is holding their weight, and then there are a few outliers that are doing an amazing job. Tom Holland is also catching a lot of hate, which I don't really understand. I feel like he's doing a very good job in this movie. And obviously Matt Damon does a great job, but if I'm being honest, Himesh Patel really kind of outplays him on the boat scenes. The whole time, this guy is acting his fucking ass off, which I did not expect from the guy from yesterday. You know, yesterday.
My god, dude, you're on fucking 0% Christian.
Half the time I think he gives more of a fuck than Odysseus in this movie, which is kind of insane. You know what, fuck it, I think he's the best acting performance in the movie. I'll fucking say it. But I also don't think it's a lot of the actors' fault, you know? Most of them only get one or two emotional scenes in this long ass movie, so it's hard to get a good read. You only really get a little bit of time, so when you blow your one shot, it kind of just comes off as weak. Zendaya is a fantastic actress, but as Athena, she doesn't really get a good chance to show it. She just kind of stands around most of the time, and when she does talk to Odysseus, it's like she's stuck in a room with a guy she doesn't like at all, and is kind of just being forced to give him hints on what to do. Zendaya plays Cortana from Halo in this movie. Cortana, she didn't speak as much. And even when characters are talking, you're probably not going to be able to hear them 90% of the time. This movie can be so fucking loud for some reason, and it's really annoying. This is probably a common experience, but I have a friend who always has their mic way too close to their face while playing video games, and it always makes things hard to hear.
Thanks for the laugh.
Stripperella. That's a throwback.
I already have 4,000 healing.
And that's exactly how this movie makes me feel. The Odyssey gave me flashbacks to Marvel Rivals and Overwatch. I hope Christopher is happy. There are moments where it works, but when you're trying to hear what someone is saying, then it becomes more of a challenge than a cool creative decision. When you want to hear a character say something important, but they're fighting with both the background noise and the music, it becomes a chore. Okay, I think I'm starting to complain. I'm just gonna full send it. I'm not a fan of the music in this movie, and as a Nolan fan, this hurts. Interstellar, Inception, The Dark Knight trilogy. Even when I have my few problems with these movies, the score always brings me back into it. The composer for this movie, Big Ludwig G, has so many good soundtracks. He's done music for The Mandalorian, Creed, Sinners, Black Panther 2, and here he does a pretty good job. It's just never worth listening to outside of the movie. Or in the movie, minus one scene at the end. There's a scene with the sirens where finally all the other excess noise leaves after the characters put wax in their ears, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh man, here it comes. And I kept waiting and waiting for this man Ludwig to pop the fuck off. And then the scene ended. Which, I'm gonna be honest, kind of put a frown on my face. A fat frown. One time I was trying to get into this place with my friends, and I didn't have a fake ID, so I borrowed a friend of a friend's fake. I swear this relates to my opinion on the Odyssey, you just have to wait. Not only did the guy on the fake not look like me with his straight hair compared to mine, which is curly, but I look about the age of 12, and this card stated that my height was 6 foot, when I am very much not 6 foot. I am 5'5.5", 5'6" on a good day. And when I got there, the bouncer looked at the card, then up at me, then back up. Wait. And when I got there, the bouncer looked at the card. And when I got there, the bouncer looked at the card, looked at me, looked back at the card, and then finally looked back up at me for the last time, and I saw the biggest frown I've seen in my entire life. And not once in my entire life have I ever seen a face like that. And I've never been able to replicate that until I saw the Odyssey and watched the scene with the sirens. I felt like a disappointed dad after catching his son playing Doki Doki Literature Club in his room. I genuinely think it would have been more impactful if the scene just went fully silent so we could feel immersed in the moment as if we were part of the crew. But that's just me, I fucking guess. Okay, Christopher. I get that it was an intentional choice to not use an orchestra for the soundtrack. Doesn't make it a good one. I'm just saying, I know it was intentional. The excuse they used was they didn't use an orchestra to keep it accurate to the time period. Now, I'll admit, I understand, and that's pretty cool, but I also don't understand it all. I don't care if the Odyssey isn't perfectly time period accurate. They didn't have giant whirlpool monsters or cyclops at the time, and Homer had no fucking problem adding those in. On top of that, Nolan had them wear different armor than makes sense for the time period, so I don't think that's a valid excuse. If you're going to use different armor because it looks cooler or serves the story better, then why change the music? And if the armor is to give the audience something they're used to, then why change the music at all? And if you want to be period accurate, why have a non-Greek cast use modern day Western accents? And if you wanted to be accurate to the source material, why would you leave out stuff like Odysseus tricking the Cyclops? Or add stuff in, like the Sinon subplot, which again, I loved. I don't care if you're changing stuff, as long as it makes the movie better. So why don't you make the movie better? And I do think the Sinon stuff was great, but just give me more music, please. I want more music. I just don't understand. I'm done. I'm moving on. The message of pride is hammered into your scrotum within the first hour, so it can sometimes feel repetitive. Maybe a lot of the time, actually. Yeah, it feels very repetitive. But I can also attribute that to the fact that they're translating a very old book that I've already read back in high school into a 3-hour movie. I never found myself bored, which is good, but there are definitely moments that I didn't love my time in the theater either. But if the story wasn't grabbing me, then the visuals helped my itty-bitty baby brain stay entertained. Most Nolan movies treat you like an adult and let you discover the message on your own throughout the full duration of the movie. Here he kind of just spoon feeds it to you at the beginning and lets you see the suffering characters experience after making the same decisions over and over again. Odysseus and his crew just kind of learn the same versions of the same lesson on each island, and they fall for it every time to a point where it hurts to watch. Again, I get it, it's the Odyssey, but this is a modern day adaptation, so that really isn't an excuse. But yeah, the third act is amazing, and I can't even hate on that. Swear to God, if this movie lost you in the first half, it will suck you back in at the end. But does that really redeem the last 2 hours you spent on it? I really, truly, in my heart of hearts, wanted to love this movie, but I just couldn't. Again, I don't think this is a bad movie. I just think it's one that wastes its potential a little bit, which honestly hurts just a little bit more. Maybe once I get a chance to rewatch the film, I'll be able to say more about it, or even think more, but for now, that's all I got. Now watch me solo ult a Venom and then beg for heals as my friends breathe into their mic.
I became the ultimate weapon.
No, they don't.
Better see 17 elims after that.
No,
ult.
they do not. Lucas.
Oh my bad.
I became the ultimate weapon.